Interesting. Really?
Got some oats, strawberries. It's a super gloomy day outside today. Okay, Georgie, I've caught you at an awkward time because I've got you while you're eating, but how do you feel? How are you feeling today?
Amazing.
And we've got our little office manager over here, keeping it all together, running the schedules. Nala, are you a dog? Are you a dog? Yes, you are. We bought new office chairs. Georgie's just building the last one. We wanted to go for pink. It came a lot more of like a muted pink, which actually I think goes well with the table. It's great. And then we also got a new Nespresso machine. This way. And then you put the pot in there. Today is, well, this week was the first week that we went back to work. We started on Monday. Georgie's actually started full-time now for me. So she's on Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I have just literally so much inspiration for the new year. I need to switch back on and get things done now. The office has come together a little bit more. I think I said to you, obviously, that we got our chairs. And the office just feels cozy and comfortable now. It feels really nice to spend all day in here. Yeah, Georgie's full-time now, I'm full-time now. It's weird because Georgie's been part-time for me for ages. And I guess I essentially have been part-time for ages as well, but I sort of just run my own schedule and do my own thing. And travelled a lot last year and was sort of just going with the flow of whatever jobs I would take, as well as working on this other project that I've been working on. So it's nice now to have like a full-time schedule where I know where I am every single day. If other things pop up, obviously I can go to them and Georgie can sort of hold down the fort in the office. So it feels great. I'm so pumped, and I just really want to put out some content that's really motivating and inspiring for you guys. Even though I feel like last year I was sort of full-time working, it's actually now got a lot more structure to it. I was going to cook for you guys, do a little bit of a recipe, like cooking sesh with you guys. But I figured in my last vlog, I didn't even realize in my last vlog that I would have so much cooking in it. I didn't realize Nick had filmed so much. I kind of noticed him doing it, but didn't really realize. So I think that's enough cooking for one video, and this video can be a bit more about 2020, getting your life sorted, getting yourself organized, holding yourself accountable, and all of that.
Yep. Yep, we've got that.
Good morning, guys. Obviously you guys know that we're in a drought here in Sydney, so there's massive water restrictions. Sorry, in all of Australia really. There's massive water restrictions, which means we don't really water our garden because it's just a big waste to put the sprinkler on. So our grass has been completely fried, completely dead, and you know that there's been no rain as well. Can you see all of these patches of grass that have been coming back? I'm going to insert a picture of what this looked like 2 weeks ago, and you will be shook. It was literally not a single bit of green on it. And all we've been doing is putting this bucket in our shower, and we do the same for our sink. So when we are washing our dishes, we'll put like a little bucket underneath, or like if we're washing our hands, whatever, and we fill up the rest with just the water that falls past your hands. You would be surprised by how much water these things catch. Like, you go through so much water when you shower, and you can literally see patches of like where we've put the bucket of water. We've put like a bucket of water here and a bucket of water here. And here it's literally like big long patches of grass just from that. I wanted to end this video just with a few motivational tips for 2020. I have sort of written out a bit of it's not really a goals list, but it's more of a intentions list. Some intentions that I plan to stick to throughout 2020 that I think will be really beneficial towards my mental health, my physical health, my work ethic. A big thing for me that I realized in the last probably 2 years is that exercise is the key to my mental health. If I get up nice and early, get a session in, I just feel like I can accomplish so much more in the day, as opposed to if I just wake up and sort of dawdle around for a bit and go straight to work. I just feel like I'm not as motivated, but I'm also just more tired. I can feel it in my face. My energy levels aren't as high. So on Sunday night, plan out every single thing you're going to do for the whole week to do with exercise. So if you look at it more in categories and just try to fine tune one thing at a time. For me right now, what I try to do on a Sunday is write my to-do list for just Monday and then plan out the whole week's worth of exercise so that I know when I'm going to be exercising. That way I keep myself accountable. I try to wake up every morning and get the session in before I start anything else. Every morning I try to write myself out a to-do list. I can do it the night before. It can start triggering my mind to start thinking of what I'm going to do that night. So often if I try to switch off the night before, I'll come in the morning, write out a big list of what I want to get done in the day and start ticking it off as I do it. That way it's really fresh in my mind. Writing out a really efficient small to-do list and not something that is going to be like 2 pages long. That's overwhelming and chances are you won't get a lot of it done and then you'll feel guilty about it. So write down the things that you know you can get done in that day. On that point as well, a great thing that I like to live by is that if it only takes 3 minutes, do it now. A lot of things like my washing or making the bed or having a phone call with insurance company or I don't know, whatever the case may be, small things that I've put off for such a long time, if it's only going to take me 3 minutes to get it done, do it right now. You will feel so much better and you'll be surprised at how much more you get done. I like to wake up early enough that I can have a big glass of water, have a moment to myself where I put on a podcast or even a motivational sort of, I suppose you can go on YouTube or Spotify, there's motivational, I don't know if it's a podcast, it's more like a little 3-minute mantra. I essentially repeat the mantras back. So it might say, I am loyal, I'm going to be a really kind person today, I'm going to be a really kind person today. And it feels really good just to repeat it over and over and remind yourself of your values and say it out loud. And it's essentially like a verbal to-do list of the things that of how you want to act. I'll check on a podcast, someone I like listening to. The key as well to podcasts I find is try to find people that are motivational for you. So people that you really like listening to, you might look up to, that provide insight, that might educate you and provide good entertainment, but also actually provide really cool tips and topics and things like that that you might not know about. I can try write a list of the podcasts I listen to below if I remember. Remind me in the comments. Another thing which I haven't implemented yet is to have a really cold shower at least once a day. You have a cold shower and instead of going, oh, I'm like getting straight out of it, breathing through the initial shock of the shower and not the pain, but I suppose the uncomfort of the shower will help you that day then breathe through situations that might sort of trigger an anxiety attack or a bit of stress. So it teaches you to breathe through uncomfort in the physical sense so that you can try to do it also mentally when you're, feeling a little uncomfortable about something. Another thing that I'm trying to live by in 2020 is to try things that make me feel uncomfortable. There is nothing worse than feeling uncomfortable, but there is nothing more rewarding than when you do that thing that makes you feel uncomfortable. And you might suck at it, you might fail at it, but you still feel really proud of yourself. I found when I started doing, on-stage appearances, which was one of a big fear of mine, it essentially almost became, it released like endorphins, but not even that. It was like, what is that word? Running off adrenaline. It was like adrenaline for me because it made me so uncomfortable that I felt so anxious that after when I did it, I felt just electric. Just try to remind yourself that anytime you are scared, you are growing as a person. Another thing that I am still yet to do, I did do a little bit at the end of last year, but I haven't found time yet this year, but I really want to go through and just purge. So find things that don't serve you, find clothes that don't serve you, bag them up, do a market stall, get rid of them, give them to Vinnie's, give them to Salvos, get rid of the things that you do not need and that are cluttering your life, because if they're cluttering your life, I can guarantee you they're cluttering your mind. And that is my worst habit, is holding on to things, creating piles of things like essentially clothes and just things that I do not need. And I'm like, I'll get to it tomorrow. That's one thing that isn't going to take me 3 minutes that I need to actually take half a day and go through and really get rid of the things that don't serve me anymore. But once you do it, there is literally no better feeling. Make your bed, put a candle on, vacuum the carpet, do all of that, and you will feel $1,000,000. Back sort of to the topic of do one thing that makes you feel uncomfortable a week. Also make sure that you're spending time doing at least one thing that you love a week. So, or even a day, whether that be going for a swim in the ocean or having a facial, having a massage, going out for a cocktail, whatever you love to do, make sure that you are finding time in your schedule to do that. Because self-love and self-care is the #1 thing that is going to help you find motivation in life. If I feel good in myself and I take care of myself, chances are I'm going to perform better in the office and with whatever work I'm doing. Find the time to spoil yourself, whether that even be reading a novel, once, like an hour a night. Find the time to do it. Just find the time to do things that you love and that you want to do. Even if you're busy, just make the time, make the space for it. Another thing that I found really interesting last year was sort of that saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. Keeping people around you that are really positive, really outgoing, that make you feel great. You're their biggest cheerleaders and they are yours. That motivate you, that give you drive, that you have the same passions for, that you have the same interests. Well, you don't even have to have the same hobbies, but you have the same goal. There's no point keeping people around you that make you feel less than, that you feel like you need to dull your shine around. That's just not good for anyone's mental health. Anytime I feel like I'm going off course, or I'm not sure if what I'm doing is right, or if I'm not sure if I should be doing something better, I just remind myself, like I give myself quite literally a visual laneway, and I draw a line and I go, just stay in your own lane, bitch. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to anyone else except yourself yesterday. Always strive for better in yourself, but compare yourself to you and your goals, not to anyone else. Everyone else around you can inspire you, and that's amazing to have inspiring people around you, but don't compare yourself in a way that you feel like what you're doing is wrong or not good enough, because that is only going to detriment you. There's enough room in the world for everyone to succeed at what they want if they work hard enough for it, but don't be begrudging, don't be judgmental, only be happy for people, only try to keep a positive sense of judgment of people. Anytime I find myself judging someone, I just go like, shut up, who are you? And it's not helping anyone and it's not helping anything to have that negative mindset, especially not myself. So compete with yourself and give yourself goals and drive yourself to improve because of yourself, but don't do it to please anyone else, and don't compare yourself to anyone else. Only be proud of other people's successes. Georgie's back. This is perfect timing. Hello, I'm just filming, just so you know.
You're on.
And then my last point would be to make sure that you always give yourself the time to look back at your successes and count your blessings, because I find I rarely actually take the time to look back and sort of reflect on how far I actually have come. I'm always striving for something more, something better. So make sure at least once a week you take the time to sit down and just pat yourself on the back and go, hell yeah, look how far I've come. Those are my tips. Georgie, do you have any motivational tips that you'd like to share? Write things down. She's like organizational queen. I think that's what I need to strive for. Just be a bit.
I do want to start a journal. That's my...
Yeah, actually.
I bought a journal the other day and I haven't written in it yet, but I want to do it every night.
And that's one thing that a lot of people say. A lot of my friends journal as well, and they absolutely love sitting down and journaling, but also the benefits from that is to then read back to a year or so ago when you might have not been in such a great state of mind, and you can look back at how far you've come, or maybe how far you've fallen, and how you need to readjust your life. So journaling as well is a great tip. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you very shortly in another one.